You may have kind of answered this question already, but that era at Leeds, Harry Kewell, Mark Viduka, Rio, Lee
Yeah,
Bowyer,
yeah,
yourself, James Milner. Who
yeah.
was the player that really kind of within the squad, within training on match days that people would look to and say, you're just your levels?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I first got to the club at Leeds, I was unbelievably impressed. Well, sorry, yeah, is that the right word? Unbelievably impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Lee Bowyer, believe it or not. And we had a bit of a connection. Lee, we're quite serious. You know, he was from London, Isle of Dogs, proper. You know, I used to go and see him, Bowie, in the Isle of Dogs, a couple of nights out in the Isle of Dogs with him. And I think we used to go on the marathon. Went to watch the marathon a few times. A couple of days out of the marathon, it was really good actually. I had a good day out, a couple of scoops with me and him down in London, which I wasn't really a London, you know, I wasn't one of those lads. I was a northern lad, you know. So Bo always used to invite me to London, and then we'd have a couple of nights out, and he was always good fun for me, Lee. But football-wise, honestly, brilliant footballer. Loved at Leeds the way he played. I know he got a bit of bad press at the end of it, but it was now to do with Lee. You know, there's a few things in his career he probably won't be proud of, but that's part of learning, your learning process. But Lee was an incredible footballer, fit as a fiddle. I mean, you can't. I'm talking about fitness level. I mean, absolute joke. And I've got to mention when you're talking about players who did get to the top level, the highest level would be Rio Ferdinand. You know, lucky enough to play alongside him for a period of time. Played with him, played against him as well, you know, obviously, and unbelievable. What's the word? He's a leader, but also he's a voice as well. You wouldn't sometimes think that, but he was always moaning, which I love. You need to be a moaner. You know, look at Carragher at Liverpool. He was the best moaner because he was trying to help everyone, help the team all the time, make the right decisions for everyone else. And Rio was very much like that. Different style of player, but the way he tried to play football was, for me, the right way. Get on the ball, look to pass it into your midfield players or your strikers or whatever. You know, not just lumping balls forward. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at times because you have to, but with Rio, he was a bit of a class act. You know, everyone. I'm saying things that people already know. People used to say he was a Rolls Royce. He generally was. And when he drove that Aston Martin, he deserved to drive that. It's the kind of car he should have been driving because he was that good at that point. You know what I mean? He was a class above, I think. Not everyone, because that's a hard thing to say, but he was the best, I think, at that point in that position, and he was so skillful as well. And it's interesting reading that he had a bit of ballet in his background. You know, growing up as a kid, you know, stuff like that. You wouldn't think of that, but my wife's a ballet teacher. That's what she does. She was a ballerina, so I understand that how hard that kind of stuff is. I'm not saying he took that right the way through his career, but I remember him talking about that, and you're thinking, what, he did a bit of ballet. It's something you wouldn't think, would you, when you think of Rio Ferdinand, big centre half. But yeah, just a very, very, very cute footballer, but did things the right way, played the right way. You know, I think about people like Alan Hansen at Liverpool, who, you know, lucky enough to play a couple of games in reserves with and spoke with him recently. I mean, that type of player, you can put Rio at that level, you know, and Alan Hansen was the best of the best at that era and was quick and strong. People don't think Jockey was quick, but he was really quick. And like to compare people like Rio with that, with people like with him is probably the biggest thing I could say about him. When you're comparing Rio to Alan Hansen, they are different players, but very much played the same way or tried to play the right way. And I always tried to do that as well. But it's always difficult when you're playing with Rio because he's going to be the outstanding player. But all the work I might have done in the background goes a bit unnoticed. And a lot of players, you know, because if you're not the big name at a club, I was happy to just be in the background, winning a few headers, getting a few tackles in, you know, doing my job. You know, when you're Rio Ferdinand, there's a lot more pressure on you. If you're Alan Hansen, there's more pressure on you. But for me, I never had that kind of pressure. These players had to be the best, you know, and then you see him close after he left Leeds. He was, you know, straight to Man United. Then, you know, the career he's had at Man United, and obviously what he does now in the world, because he's a genuine good guy. Rio, been through a lot as well, and he's a good player. I think he's just had a baby, hasn't he? Or not him personally, but his wife. And I think it's just nice on the road, because obviously he lost his wife and stuff, and you know he's a brilliant fella. And like I said again, when I've been through these tough times, he was someone who reached out to me, and I won't forget that. I don't forget stuff like that. It's funny with my memory at the minute. I don't forget little bits like that. And sometimes if I do, I have to remind myself quickly and send him a quick message and say, you know, thanks for your support, because you know it's all football, isn't it? We're all footballers together, and we have to stick together.
I think it's nice to hear that as well, because in the world of social media, and people are quick to criticise and dig people out, as we may say, that
Yeah.
behind the scenes they are doing things like that. So that's, again, credit to Rio for that.
Yeah.